Be me. Can't remember life without Lena. Same street, same school, same dumb childhood dares. She's the girl who stole my fries and denied it with her mouth still full. Fast forward. Now we're in a van heading to the Alps. Lena next to me, ski goggles on her forehead, humming, straight vibing. This is going to be fun, she says. Me. You said that last time. Me. And I sprained my ankle. Her. Shit-eating grin. That was your fault. You tried to race me. Me. And you pushed me. Her. I encouraged you. Mark turns around from the front seat. Just so we're clear, he says. If you two start acting like an old married couple again, I'm charging rent. Lena instantly, we're not married. Me instantly, we're not a couple. Mark smiles. That's not what I said. Mountains come into view, white, massive. Lena presses her face to the window, softly. God, I missed this. Glance at her. She looks different here. Hate that my brain noticed. Get to the lodge, boots everywhere. People arguing over rooms like it's the Hunger Games. Someone drops a bag down the stairs. Lena bumps into me, auto-steadying herself by grabbing my arm. Same reflex since we were kids. Still my balance support, she says. Me, still clumsy. She sticks her tongue out. Some things never change. Check-in, receptionist squints at list. So, Lena and Anon? Lena, yes. Receptionist. There are adjacent rooms left. Shall I book them for you? Both of us at the exact same time. All right, we'll take it. Pause. Laugh. Mark raises an eyebrow. Oh, this trip is going to be great. Carry bags upstairs. Lena nudges me with her shoulder. Casual tone, but her eyes don't match it. Hey, no matter what happens, promise we don't do anything stupid. Me smirking. With you, never. She smiles back. For some reason, it lingers longer than usual. Don't know it yet. But that's the moment everything starts shifting. First morning in the Alps. Smells like cold air. Coffee. Come downstairs. Lena already fully geared up. Helmet on. Goggles ready. Way too excited for someone who claims she's not competitive anymore. You're late, she says. Me. I woke up on vacation time. It's different. She rolls her eyes like she's done it 1,000,000 times. She has. You always say that right before you fall. On the slope. Everything feels familiar. Lena takes off on her snowboard like she's been doing this forever. Me chasing after her like an idiot, which, yeah. Try to keep up, she shouts over her shoulder. Me yelling back, that's rich coming from the girl who cried when I beat her at sledding when we were 10. Her, that was emotional trauma. Different. 5 minutes later, she catches an edge, eats snow, hard, brain goes autopilot. I'm at her side instantly, kneeling. You okay? She looks up laughing. Yeah, my dignity didn't survive though. I help her up, hands on her waist. Ethan skis past and slows down just enough to be a menace. Just get married already. Lena, we're just friends. Ethan speeding away. So are my parents. Thanks, Ethan. Very cool. Lunch. We collapse at an outdoor table. Lena steals my fries without asking. Again, back on the slope. She grabs my hand to pull me toward a lift. Her glove is warm. I notice. Don't know why I notice. She looks at me like it's nothing. Race you to the bottom. Me. You'll lose. She smiles. The smile she's had forever. The smile my brain suddenly won't stop zooming in on. She wins. Barely. Throws her arms up. I still got it. I laugh. But watching her, breathless, glowing in the snow, a thought hits me out of nowhere. I've seen her like this 1,000 times. So why does it feel different now? That night, walking back to the lodge, Mark beside me like the devil on my shoulder. So, he says, casual as anything. How long have you been pretending you don't have feelings for her? Me, scoff. Shut up. Him, smirk. Sure, man. Go to sleep, convinced nothing has changed, except that thought doesn't feel as solid as it used to. Awesome. Evenings in the mountains hit different. Cold forces everyone inside, everyone around the fireplace. Boots drying near the wall, music low from someone's phone. Everyone tired in the good way. Lena sits next to me on the floor, back against the couch. Mark points at me. Remember when you broke your arm because you tried to jump off the garage roof? Me. I was 8. And Lena said I'd land it. Lena raises hands. In my defense, I said maybe. Sophie laughs. You two sound like an old couple telling the same story again. Lena, we've told it since we were kids. Me nodding. Some traditions never die. Hot chocolate gets passed around. Lena takes my mug by mistake. I don't correct her. She realizes halfway through. Smirks. Too late. Conversation drifts. Old teachers. Embarrassing teen phases. First crushes. Inevitably, someone asks the question that's been camping in the room. Ethan leans back. So, how is it that you two never dated? Lena and me at the exact same time again. Because we're just friends. Room goes quiet for half a second. Then everyone laughs. Mark raises his mug. If I had $1 for every couple that said that, Lena rolls her eyes. We grew up together. It would have been weird. Sophie mutters, still is, just in denial. I laugh it off because that's my only skill. Please, if we were ever desperate enough, Lena slides in smooth as butter. We'd just marry each other. She grins. Room explodes. Mark, there it is, the pact. Lena immediately damage controls. It's a joke, a childhood joke. Me nodding like a hostage. Yeah, totally a joke. But when the laughter dies, there's a pause. Lena looks at me. I look back. Just a second longer than usual. Something tightens in my chest. She clears her throat and stands up. Anyway, I'm exhausted. Me, too fast. Same. Heading to rooms. Mark falls in beside me, quietly. People don't joke about things they've never thought about. Me, that's not true. Him smiling, keep telling yourself that. Later in bed, staring at the ceiling, replaying the joke. Her smile, the pause. It was just a joke. Right. Next day. Problem reveals itself at the worst possible moment when changing hotels. As problems do. Receptionist looks at screen, then at us, then back at screen, goes, huh. That huh is a gunshot. There seems to be a small issue with the booking. We're fully booked tonight. Mark instantly grins. Oh no. Receptionist, cheerful as a villain. So you'll be sharing, one room, one bed. She smiles like she just handed us free champagne. Lena and I stare at each other, then in perfect sync again. That's fine. Mark actually laughs out loud. Sure it is. Room is cozy. One bed, one window, one nightstand. 0 escape routes. Lena drops her bag and flops onto the bed like she's staking a claim. We've slept in the same room before. When we were kids. Me nodding. Yeah, tons of times. Pause because my brain hates me. Different context. She snorts. Wow, didn't think I'd ever hear you say that. We change on opposite sides like professionals. Very mature. Later we sit on the bed, backs against the headboard, phones in hand. Too close. I can feel the heat from her arm. This is stupid, Lena says. We're acting weird. Me, we are not. Her, you flinched when my knee touched yours. Me, that was a reflex. She raises an eyebrow like, sure, buddy. Silence settles in. She asks quietly, do you ever think about how long we've known each other? Me, honest against my will. All the time. She smiles soft. Me too. She shifts and rests her head back. Our shoulders touch. Neither of us moves away. She says like she's reminding herself, we're still friends? Me, yeah. Word feels thinner than it used to. Lights go off. Room goes quiet. I stare into the dark and become painfully aware of every breath she takes. Nothing happens. And somehow, that's exactly what makes it impossible to sleep. Not asleep. No, she isn't either. After years, you can tell by the rhythm of breathing, by the way the silence stretches too long. She whispers, hey. Me, yeah? Can I ask you something without it being weird? I almost laugh. With us? Impossible. But, sure. Pause. I mean it, she says. Like, honestly. I turn my head toward her. Okay. She starts slow. Do you ever think that we missed something? Chest tightens instantly. Me. Missed. What? She exhales. Something obvious. Suddenly the ceiling is the most fascinating thing on earth. Me carefully. We were kids. then teenagers, then life just happened. She hums. That's not an answer. I shift onto my side, facing her. Moonlight from the window outlines her face just enough. Me? Sometimes? But I also think we got exactly what we needed. She smiles faint. You always say things like that. Me. Because they're true. Another pause. Her hand moves. Barely. Fingers brush mine. Accidental. Sure, that's the story. Neither of us pulls away. I swallow. Lena. Yeah? We should probably... Don't finish. Because she looks at me then. And there's something in her expression that isn't childhood, isn't habit, isn't comfort. It's new. For half a second, I think she's going to lean in. For another half second, I think I might. Then she pulls her hand back too fast, forces a laugh. That was close. Me. Yeah, too close. We both turn away at the same time, stare at opposite walls like that'll fix it. A minute passes, then another. She says softly, "Good night." Me. Good night. Heart does not slow down. Mine does not either, because that wasn't how friends touch, and that wasn't how friends look at each other. And deep down, we both know it. Even if tomorrow, we pretend we don't. Wake up staring at the ceiling, immediately aware of two things. Brain refuses to shut up. Lena is still right next to me, breathing evenly, asleep like nothing happened, which, technically, it didn't, but also it absolutely did. She wakes up a minute later, slow blinks. Morning. Morning. We sound normal. That's the problem. Get ready in a silence. She hums while pulling on her sweater. I focus like my life depends on tying my boots correctly. So, she says casual, great sleep. Yeah, I say. Fantastic. She snorts. Liar. I almost smile. Almost. Downstairs, the lodge is loud again. Mark's already awake and already irritating. He looks between us, then grins. Oh. Lena instantly defensive. There is no, oh! Mark raises hands. Didn't say anything. She points with her eyes anyway. He was about to. I know he was about to. You were about to, I say. Still am, he replies. Mark truly built different. Built wrong. Go to the slopes. Tell myself this should feel normal. And mostly it does. Ride the lift together. Tease each other. Fall and laugh. The usual rhythm, except every time she laughs, it hits different. Like my brain updated overnight and forgot to ask permission. Then it happens. Some guy slides up next to Lena in the lift line. Tall, confident, annoyingly good at snowboarding. Hey, he says easy. First time here? Lena smiles politely. Yeah. Something twists in my chest. Hard. They start talking. Nothing serious. Nothing wrong. Repeat that to myself about 10 times. Watch them ride down together. Too close. Too comfortable. My stomach drops like I missed a step. Mark skids to a stop beside me, cheerful as always. Oh no, you look like that now. Like what? Like you're realizing something 5 years late. My face when he says it like it's a joke, but it lands like a diagnosis. Later, Lena catches up at the bottom. Why'd you disappear? Didn't, I lie. Just took a different route. She studies my face. She always does that. You okay? Yeah, I say too fast. Why wouldn't I be? She frowns slightly. I don't know, you're weird. That's my brand. She laughs, but her eyes linger, searching, that afternoon. Hot drinks, everyone tired in the good way. Sophie leans toward me, quiet voice. Careful. You're not as subtle as you think. I raise an eyebrow. About what? She smiles like she already won. About her. I look across the table, Lena laughing, gesturing with her hands. The same girl I've known my whole life. And somehow, not the same at all. Brain finally lets the thought finish itself. If she wasn't here with me, I don't like how that sentence ends. Later that night, Mark's idea. Cards, Mark announces. Spreads them across the table like he's dealing destiny. Loser does a dare. Lena groans. This always ends badly. That's the point, Mark grins. The lodge is warm, fire low. Everyone relaxed in that end-of-day slightly reckless way. I sit across from Lena, same as always. Except now, I notice everything. The way she tucks her hair behind her ear. The way she glances at me before laughing. The way my brain keeps cataloging her. A few rounds in, dares escalate. Nothing serious. Embarrassing stories. Stupid accents. Ethan does karaoke like he's trying to summon a spirit. Everyone loses it. Then Lena loses a round. Mark doesn't even hesitate. "All right," he says, way too pleased. "Kiss someone, like you mean it." Table erupts. Cheering, howling. Someone almost chokes on their drink. Lena rolls her eyes. "Of course you'd pick that." She looks around theatrically, like she's shopping. Then her gaze lands on me, and the room goes quiet. "It's just a joke," she says quickly, smiling. "We've known each other forever." "Exactly," Mark says. "So it's safe." Safe? Because I realize I want it to be unsafe. And also I want to pretend I don't. Lena turns to me, question in her eyes. I shrug, force a grin. "If you don't mind embarrassing me in front of everyone." She laughs. "Nah, you're used to it." She leans in. I expect quick, playful, over in a second. It isn't. Her hand rests lightly on my arm. The kiss is soft, warm. The room disappears. No cheering, no clapping, just my heartbeat trying to punch its way out. She pulls back first. Our faces still close. Her smile fades, so does mine. Mark tries to speak. "Well," he says weakly, "that was..." Sophie cuts in. "Not funny." "Thank you, Sophie. Thank you for naming the thing no one wants to name." Lena clears her throat. "Okay," she says, standing. "Game over." No one argues. Even Mark shuts up. She walks toward the balcony. I hesitate, then follow. Cold air hits. She grips the railing. White knuckles. Quiet voice. "That wasn't supposed to feel like that." I swallow. "Yeah, I know." Stand there side by side, not touching, not joking. "I think," she says slowly, "we just crossed a line." I nod. "I think we crossed it a while ago." She looks at me then. And my brain short circuits because I've wanted that look forever and never admitted it. "And what do we do now?" I have no answer. But for the first time, I don't want to pretend it was nothing. Morning doesn't fix anything. It just removes distractions. Wake up early, downstairs is quiet. Pour coffee I don't want. Sit at the table pretending this is just another morning? It isn't. It's the morning after you stop lying to yourself, which is objectively the worst kind. She comes down a few minutes later, hair messy, hoodie too big, the Lena I've known forever. Except now I notice how careful she looks. "Morning? Morning." We sit. The space between us is louder. Finally she sighs. "Okay, we should talk." I nod. "Yeah, we should." She wraps her hands around her mug. "That wasn't planned," she says. "And it wasn't a joke." "No," I agree. "It wasn't." She looks at me, searching my face, voice quieter. "I don't want to ruin what we have. You're my best friend." I swallow. "So are you." Pause. That moment where the truth stands at the edge and asks if it's allowed in. I say the thing I've been avoiding. But I don't think that's all we are anymore. Her breath catches. "Good. Maybe I'm not alone in this." "I've been trying to tell myself this is just the trip," I continue. "The mountains, the jokes, the nostalgia." Shake my head. "But I've felt this before. Just never let myself finish the thought." She studies me. "And what's the thought?" she asks. I take a breath. "That if you weren't here, I'd notice the space you left behind." Long moment. She doesn't speak. My brain tries to die from embarrassment. Then she smiles. "I think," she says, "I've been noticing that space for a while." We don't kiss. Not yet. We just sit there, closer now, shoulders almost touching, different from before. Outside, the mountains are still there, unchanged, but something between us finally is. We don't announce anything. We don't need to. By lunchtime, everyone knows anyway, because friend groups have psychic powers when it comes to romance. Mark notices first. He watches Lena sit next to me instead of across. His eyes flick to our hands. Mark leans back like a judge delivering a verdict. "Well, about damn time." Lena groans. "We literally just talked." "Yeah," Sophie says, smiling soft. "And we've been waiting for years." I blink. "Years?" Ethan shrugs. "You two argue like a couple. Protect each other like a couple. And look miserable whenever the other one isn't around." He grins. We just assumed you were slow. My face when entire friend group has been watching this slow burn disaster like it's a TV show. Lena laughs, half embarrassed, half relieved. And I feel lighter, like we finally stopped lying to the people who know us best, and also stopped lying to ourselves, which is new. Later that afternoon, me and Lena head back out to the slopes, just the two of us. No race, no teasing, just quiet movement down the mountain, wind in the helmet, snow under the board, peace in my chest for the first time in years. At the bottom, she stops, turns to me, tries to sound casual. So, what are we doing now? I smile. Starting something we should have been honest about a long time ago. She nods. Good. The kiss happens without a dare, without an audience, without pressure, and completely different from last night. Last night was a line crossing. This is a door opening. When we pull back, she rests her forehead against mine. Promise me something. What? That if this gets scary, we talk? No pretending. I nod. I promise. And I mean it. Which is wild. I'm not used to meaning things out loud. Walking back toward the lodge, her hand finds mine. This time, neither of us lets go. For the first time, it doesn't feel like we crossed a line. It feels like we finally stepped onto the right one. Last morning in the Alps. Feels different. We pack slowly like we're trying to cheat time. Lena hums while folding her sweater, then steals one of mine without asking. Hey, I protest. You always do that. She smiles. Tradition? My face when she's been taking my clothes for years, and I never connected the dots. Outside, the mountains look the same as when we arrived. Massive, quiet, unbothered, but I don't feel the same. Like I'm not the same person. One last ride up the lift. No talking. Just wind and the steady pull upward. Lena leans her head against my shoulder, like she's done 1,000 times. Except now it means something different. It's not just comfort. It's choosing. I used to think, she says soft, that loving your best friend was a mistake. I glance at her. And now I think it was just inevitable. I smile. Yeah, that tracks. My face when my heart agrees immediately. At the top we stand for a moment, taking it all in. The air, the view, the fact that something finally clicked into place. She looks at me. Teasing tone returns. So, still think this was just a joke? I laugh. No. She raises an eyebrow. Good. Drive home. Mark glances at us in the rearview mirror. You know, I'm proud of you idiots. Why? I ask. Because you finally stopped overthinking what everyone else figured out years ago. Lena squeezes my hand. That night back home. Everything familiar again. Same streets, same buildings, same life. I walk her to her door. Neither of us rushes to say goodbye. She looks down for a second. I don't want this to change us, she says quietly. I shake my head. It won't. Then, honest, certain. It just adds to us. She smiles. The same smile I've known since we were kids. The one that always made things feel okay. And now it makes everything feel possible. We don't need promises. We already kept the biggest one. Staying, growing, choosing each other slowly. My face when love doesn't always start with sparks. Sometimes it starts with years of laughter, shared fries, and knowing someone so well that one day you realize you've been home the whole time.